We are moving on to another factor. As you know, we've been doing one of the factors of awakening. They're really what I call the factors of optimal presence, the factors that start to come into play here when the mind gets more trained and there's more attention, yeah, and we're more fully attentive, more fully awake to what's going on in our experience internally and externally. Yeah. And the seventh one, we've done the seventh one. And they do basically run in order. They build on each other to some extent, very much so, actually. The seventh one is equanimity. We're going to be spending the month on equanimity. Yeah, equanimity. And equanimity is considered to be a very, very high evolved state in Buddhism practice. Yeah, a very balanced state, and a very important one, very important one. And we'll notice that it follows after concentration, right? Which is what we just spent the last month on, right? The development of concentration. We're learning to stay attentive, one moment after the other, first on one object. And then we talked about Kanaka Samadhi, which is paying attention to many things, one after the other, after the other, after the other, without spacing out. Right? Yeah. And so with equanimity, notice the change here, the shift here completely to whatever is showing up in the mind. Yeah. And staying balanced and not spacing out so much. A lot of mindfulness is necessary at this point, and a lot of balance. And it's being able to stay with whatever's arising, one thing after the other. Yeah? Yeah? With balance, with balance, with acceptance, yeah? And um, with not so much attachment, with not so much grabbing, with not so much holding on, with not so much pushing away. It's kind of the state of mind where um, it's the state where the mind is not unduly arrested by anything and runs smoothly, huh? Huh? And yet is quite attentive and connected to what's going on, and engaged but not reactive to a wider and wider range of events. Okay, very in a way, it's very simple, and equanimity is also the near enemy of equanimity is called indifference. It's like, well, I'm just not reacting to anything because I really don't care much about anything, or I'm just kind of just whatever. It's kind of like whatever's going on. I'm just not. You know, I'm not really caring much about what's going on. And that's not the same as equanimity. Equanimity is very much engaged and connected with what's going on, but not reacting to it. Again, neither clinging to it, wanting more of it, uh, or pushing it away. In other words, those patterns in us that are very, very strong, very, very strong, the habits of holding on, the habits of grasping, the things that we want more of, the habits of pushing things that we don't want, yeah, and the habits of spacing out, being confused and getting lost in thought worlds, in cognitive worlds, spacing confused worlds. No longer, those are no longer arising in equanimity. The mind is clear, and now it stays clear. It stays clear. It stays clear, you know, moment after moment after moment. It's not thrown. It's not thrown. So, and that's a state that becomes simply, and it's on the one hand, it's such a simple state of mind. Yeah. It's such a simple state of mind. All of the senses are operating. It's not turning away from experience. It's not shutting out experience. Uh, It's not shutting out experience. It's not shutting out experience out here. It's not shutting out what's arising in here. It's learning how to simply roll with experience, whatever is going on. It's just to roll smoothly with it. Yeah? Where the mind is not unduly arrested by anything. Yeah? Not thrown off the horse by anything. Yeah? Not freaked out by anything that's arising in the mind. You know, and not as flipped out by anything that's arising out here. You know, and there may be something disturbing out there, but the mind is able to see it, to hold it with more balance. Yeah, so able to hold it with more balance. It's holding with more things with more balance. You know, and it's considered to be one of the highest states, and most balanced states. But one of the things that we cannot do, uh, one of the discoveries of the Buddha, it can be one of your discoveries, you know, is one of the things that we cannot do is stop the flow of experience. You cannot stop it right now. Well, consciousness is constantly making contact. Can't stop it. One thing after another keeps coming, doesn't it? Even right now, right? One thing after another. There's a sensation, there's a thought, there's a feeling, there's another thought, there's another sensation, there's another visual image, there's another thought, and then on top of that, yeah, I guess so, I guess so, I guess so. It doesn't stop. Here's the next moment, the next moment, here's the next moment, here's the next moment. Equanimity is about, oh, I can't stop it. What is the most, what's the best, what's the most harmonious relationship to make in this world where I can't stop the flow of experience that's coming. I can't stop it. How can I be more harmonious with it? And it's a gradual process of learning not to turn away from it. That doesn't really work. That's only that's a very temporary thing. The strategy is to turn away from it because it's still there and it still keeps coming, right? Yeah? And it doesn't work to get lost in it for very long. But how about to continue to be aware of it, with it, engaged in it, without getting hooked by it, without getting hooked by it, right? And that is considered to be a very high state and one that is earned and one that is earned. Because in order for equanimity to really show up in a bigger way, we have to exhaust some of our long-term habits of grabbing and pushing away. And those are deep habits in us. Huh? Those are deep habits in us. Yeah, yeah. We're always grabbing and pushing away. It's part of our wiring. It's not our fault. It's part of our wiring. You know, we want the good. We want to push away the things we don't like. We want more of this. We want less of that. We want more of this. We want less of that. The mind is always configuring how to move towards something more pleasant, away from something less pleasant. It's orchestrating all the time. Equanimity is not orchestrating in that way. It's simply receiving whatever is coming within and without in a balanced way, more and more seamlessly. There needs to be a fair amount of mindfulness there, yeah, as well as concentration, as well as calm, as well as engaged attention. As the other factors of awakening that we've been talking about have to be there as well. There has to be interest. There has to be, all to be there. The other factors have to be there, as well. Even joy has to be there to some extent. Although with equanimity, it's considered to be even more. It's even considered to be a higher state of mind than joy. Joy has a certain kind of restlessness associated with it, and it tends not to last. Whereas equanimity is a little bit more stable and solid, and it's got a more subtle sweetness and ease associated with it. Yeah, yeah. Um, and like the other factors of waking, like everything in the practice, it starts to show up when it does show up very gradually, a little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah, a breath here, a breath there. Yeah. Sometimes a little bit longer, but usually a little bit at a time. And it usually feels good when it does arise. You'll know the difference. No, I'm really with this. I'm not reacting to it. I'm not reacting to it in the way I usually react to it. Yet I'm present to it. I'm not pushing it or pulling it. My experience. I'm able to be stable with it, calm with it, steady with it, etc. And we'll find and practice together. We'll find some ways to practice with this together, pay more attention to it, begin to cultivate it here and there over the course of the month, reflect on it together. Yeah. So this is our overview, of equanimity. And good news is we'll be spending the month of March on this together with you. So enough for this morning. Uh, let's open up the body, and we'll practice together. Okay. So opening up. Oh. When you're ready, I'm beginning to slow it down. Beginning to slow it down. Uh, Maybe lightly closing the eyes and a few more subtle movements there as you come into a more stable posture. Forming the intention to come to the breath, orient towards settling. First of all, orienting toward a comfortable, yes, easeful breath. And bringing care and interest to the settling process. As if this settling process were the priority here. There are not many priorities ahead of settling. It takes that commitment here in meditation to say, no, not now, no, not now, not that thought, not that planning. Yeah, yeah. Later. For now, the settling and the commitment to that, the prioritizing of that, and when you find that the mind has gone running off into thought, being willing to return to the vicinity of the breath, the vicinity of the internal holding environment. The settling process. And softening, softening. And in the last few minutes of the meditation, settling back, loosening your grip, settling back, receiving experience, letting it come to you, letting the breath come to you.